Red Symons, musician, entertainer, and broadcaster. His home is a place where he can be none of these things, a place where he can shed the identity that has been built up in the outside world. Here is a place where red can be red. As he said in an interview, where he can be no one too. But even in this sentiment, this home is entirely dependent on who he is. This is a home of retreat that must allow him to feel removed, detached, and in a place that feels his own. This is not a home of context. This is a home that rids you of your context, that seeks to be a retreat, somewhere that is its own and where red can be on his own. This scheme deals with the past and the present, their disconnect and their contrasts, as well as the points at which they collide. The tension in their collision is the vein of the project, where the existing wall hits, intersects, and are displaced by the walls of the intervention. The scheme's primary concerns are as a result of the tension between new and old, history and future, Red's past and his present. In its barest detail, the scheme takes Red's existing red brick soap factory and inserts a concrete box, with a space also being made available underneath. This sets up a sequencing of threshold, a move from public on the street to private and retreat at the deepest levels underneath the concrete mass. The entry threshold is drawn out and elongated. It is almost a ritualistic move from the street to the front door and into the living space. This is a result of the scheme's governing order of a set of intersecting axes, the living and the entry, set at right angles from one another. At the existing front door and through the courtyard, the scheme transitions Red from the regular gridded order of George Street to the intervention's order. As one ascends the entry axis, views open up into the scheme through the angled facade windows, their direction addressing each step up to the front door, and obscured from the original entry point. Then at the front door, the scheme transitions Red again from entry to living, through the curved wall and ceiling height change. The door swings into the living space, meaning Red must close and block out the outside world before moving on to the living axis. The wall, which internally holds the edge of the living axis, and the curved transition wall are made from the bricks displaced by the intervention of the box into the existing site. The brick in its original situation is sandblasted to its red base, whereas the bricks in the reassembled curved transition wall and anchor wall, which rises through the building, are left with the scars of their previous life. Here, existing and intervention are engaged in a dialogue. The anchor wall is the heart of the home. It holds the hearth, wood burner, and flue, symbolic of the heart of the home in Gottfried Semper's Four Elements of Architecture, and also holds vertical circulation, which permits movement down into the subterranean and the deeper levels of retreat. It also punctures the roof of the intervention and provides access to the sky and light, which is an aspect that Red is keen on. The courtyard at the front of the scheme is not designed as a habitable space, in fact the opposite. It is a void, a mediator between the interior and exterior, and must be traversed to gain access to the living space and deeper levels of retreat. It is more in the manner of the street than of the internal spaces. The body of water situated in the courtyard is a disjuncture. It dissolves the ground plane, holding its level but inaccessible. The lower ground has its own sensibility. This space is made to feel resultant from the earth being moved away. This is a subterranean realm. A series of brick columns support the mass of the intervention above, responding to the beams in the underside of the suspended slab. There is a sense of the load or weight of the structure above. The lower spaces push out into the landscape, with a rammed earth wall employed on the angling southern edge to connote the ground which has been revealed at the edge of the space. The body of water in the courtyard hits 2/3 up the window of the living space. In this space, we read the datum of the natural ground through this water, and through the treatment of the existing brick walls, which is supported by exposed foundations at 1400 from the new finished floor level. This is a space that has been made habitable, but bears the remnants of its previously concealed life. The pipework in the master bathroom has been detailed to be exposed, as if the earth has been pulled away from it. Light is permitted through skylights between the intervention and the existing brick wall. Picking up on these cues, it is hoped that Red will feel the deepest sense of retreat in this space, tapping into a primal sense of safety in a hollowed-out mountainside. Red's retreat takes him from the outside, from the past, the people, and the lack of anonymity, to the internal, where he is in control, not forgetting the past, but not held there either, out of sight, where he is primarily a human.